Hey there, happy day 3 of our Power 30. Here we are, you guys. We're trying to get the most out of our last 30 days of the year. And the only way we're going to do that is preparing ourselves for 2019 and making sure that we address ourselves deep down and from the inside out. You guys, 2019 is going to be fabulous no matter how we take it or no matter what it's full of. We know this. We discussed this on day 1. So just to recap, day 1 was basically being open-hearted about however 2019 comes, whatever, wrapper that it comes in, that it's still going to be sweet and it's for us, and it's whatever lesson it is that we need to be open to receive it. The second one is making sure that we take what we feel negative about ourselves or what people have told us and switching those, words around, the word play. Day 3 is going to be about, following your instinct. Some people say your best mind, your first mind, your instincts, and a lot of times we don't do that. We allow the governing of our consciousness to get the best of us. And so we'll try to put reasoning behind everything as to why we shouldn't go and do it. We've all done it, right? Things like, oh, you know what? I knew I should have filled up my car last night. I got up late. The alarm didn't go off. Then I had to get gas and I should have got it the night before, but I didn't listen to myself because I was too tired. Maybe you had a low tire and you're like, oh, I just get air in the morning. It's funny how we can make all these excuses for ourselves. We truly do. And it seems like as an adult, it's so easy, right? It's so easy for us to make an excuse for ourselves. I handle it tomorrow. It's too late tonight. I did enough today already as it is. Why add something else to it? I deserve a rest. I deserve a break. I worked too hard. I'll do this later. When there was something deep down that told you that you should do it. And it goes deeper than that. How many of you have unfortunately been in a situation where your gut kind of told you that you should probably call somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time, and then you go to make that phone call and then they're gone? That's probably the worst case scenario, but it really does happen. And I believe that the biggest part that we miss out on when we decide not to listen to ourselves, and when we decide not to listen to this intuition or this gut instinct or this first mind or however you want to label it, one of the things that affects us the most is the opportunity to meet coincidence or to meet an opportunity that we didn't foresee to happen. Sometimes we look at things just as they are. Maybe something inside told you, hey, go get gas tonight before you go home. You knew you needed it. You should have went, but you didn't go. However, it wasn't the gas that you should have went to the gas station for. Maybe you were going to run into somebody that was going to change your life. Maybe you were going to run into your future. Maybe you were going to run into somebody that you hadn't seen in years and you'd lost contact. You'll never know that because you didn't follow your first mind. Maybe you couldn't have been a blessing to somebody, or maybe somebody could have been a blessing to you. And I know what you guys are thinking. Everything happens for a reason. Everything happens as it should. I don't believe that. I believe that a lot of times we ignore it. A lot of times we ignore what's on the inside that we probably should have did or that we probably should have said. Now, you guys, I'm not talking about those crazy thoughts that come to your mind to just spurt them out or just do those. I'm talking about, you know what I mean, the right things, the things that you feel like you should have did that you didn't. I think it's funny how we can find an excuse to take away from ourselves and what we need to do to give to somebody else. And that's just a flat out excuse. So some of the times we'll be like, I really need to do this for myself, but Jenny really needs my help with this. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore what I need and ignore what I'm feeling that I need to do to make sure that Jenny's okay. You guys, I'm not saying don't have a heart that wants to help people. But a lot of times we need to work on the ground floor first. And like I said, going into 2019, I think it's so important that before anything else and anybody else, we need to kind of save ourselves a little bit. That's when you're on an airplane, right? When the stewardess comes and they tell you you're getting ready to do something, who do they say to put the oxygen on first? They say to put it on yourself. Why is that? Because until you save yourself, until you help yourself, you can't help anybody else. And that's the same thing with nursing. When there's a fire or when there's this or whatever, you have to be able to help yourself. You have to be able to save yourself before you can even do any good to anybody else. So I encourage you, when there are those little things that, are deep inside you that you should do, that you act upon them. Don't let your feelings be the reason that you don't. Don't let the way you feel or your upset past or whatever it is keep you from being who you are. And we'll do that sometimes. You guys do understand that every time you don't do what you would normally do because of somebody else, then somebody else has directed your actions. And that's not cool. You should never let people change or depreciate who you are because of the way they made you feel. Never change the core of who you are. It doesn't help the situation any. This is when you start exiting people out of your life so that you don't have to adjust to the core of who you are. But if somebody's done you wrong, don't go out doing people wrong. That's just silly. You don't do that. Don't change the core of who you are because somebody's done something to you. Just learn to go on. And so that's the same thing with intuition. You guys, holiday time is probably one of the most lonely times that there is. And in fact, it has one of the highest suicide rates is during this time of the year. And it's obviously there's no surprise in that because people start thinking about maybe things they should have said, things they should have done, places they should have went, apologies they should have gave, phone calls they should have made, the I love yous they should have said. And maybe it's too late. Or maybe they look at this time of year of like, wow, their whole life, this may be the first year somebody's spending Christmas alone. Maybe it's their first year being divorced, their first year being a widow, their first year being away at college, away from their family, or maybe it's the mom at home whose kids are all off on college and she's spending it alone, or the dad who, is out off at work or maybe he's in the military and he's alone. Whatever it is, you guys, don't let intuition be the reason that you don't get to meet something that's supposed to be in your life. Don't ignore it. Don't sit there and don't give an excuse for something you know what you need to do. If you felt that you need to go out of your way and do something, stop ruining it with the conscious reasoning. Like, don't do that. Oh, well, that sounds crazy because, why would I do that? That thought is in there for a reason. Like, it really is. As long as it's not a hurtful thought now and telling you to jump off the bridge or anything like that. I'm talking about those thoughts that, you may have felt something on the inside that said, hey, call this friend that you haven't talked to in a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. And you're avoiding it because you don't want to face it yourself because you're feeling a little guilty about not calling this person in so long. You guys, don't let another year go by. Don't let more time go by just because you're choosing not to listen to your intuition. Intuition is there for a reason, and it's very important that you give credit to it. Like I said, and I've said this over and over again, I listen to a lot of Les Brown, and there's a lot that sticks with me when I listen to him. And I think that's probably why I keep listening to him, because a lot of things resonate with me. And one of the things he had said on one of the recordings was, coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Coincidence is God's way of staying anonymous. Now, if God isn't who you serve and it's the universe or whatever, so coincidence is the universe's way of staying anonymous. Whatever it is, I want to tell you that a lot of the biggest blessings in life come from what's unexpected. And you have to act on what it is on the inside that's trying to move you. So I encourage you to trust yourself and to listen to your intuition, first mind, whatever you want to call it. Those little thoughts come in there for a reason. And as much as you're afraid of maybe making that phone call that you haven't made in a really long time, they're thinking about you too. The energy is in the air. So whether it's that long lost loved one, whether it's the family member you've been fighting with, whether it's the sibling that you didn't see eye to eye with, whether it's, I don't care what it is. If it's in you to do it, you need to do it. Because I'm here to tell you that tomorrow is not promised. And you know that. You know better than to let a day go by and not do what it is that you need to do. Don't let something that you chose not to pay attention to be something that you regret later. Regret you can't get rid of. But you can make each day better. So I'm asking you to please, whatever it is that's in that intuition, whether it's helping somebody, whether it's going and visiting somebody, whether it's talking to a kid that you had a disagreement with, whether it's hugging your mom because you and her didn't see eye to eye, whether it's going and swallowing your pride to tell your dad that you're sorry, whether it's no matter what it is, whatever your gut is telling you tonight, whatever your intuition is telling you, maybe your intuition is telling you need to move on from where you're at or doing what you're doing. Maybe your intuition is telling you need to go meet somebody halfway on something. Maybe your intuition is telling you to go somewhere you don't understand why you have to go there, but you could be missing out on a blessing. So make sure that you follow your intuition, and as long as you're setting the foundation for yourself right, you should be able to trust yourself. As long as you're right with self, don't ever be afraid of your intuition. It's washed with greatness. Anyway, remember, say your I ams in the morning and at night, and always at least 2 times a day. I can, I will, and I'm worth it. You guys are fabulous. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you tomorrow for day 4.